Hello and welcome. Well, this is another week in Apex Racing League Clio Cup. We return here from the Apex Racing TV esports studio. And well, from sunny Spa last week to fabulous Florida, I think is a good way to coin it. Tonight, Sebring International Raceway. And how are the Clios going to handle all of those bumps? I'm Tim Cox with Sam Fitzpatrick, and where's the sofas gone? Yeah. It's all got a bit more official, hasn't it?
I would say this is just as comfortable though. These are lovely chairs that we're sat on.
They are stunning.
We've got a nice desk as well. Yeah, we're absolutely loving this new setup. I expect to see this much more common on the channel in the future. Albeit the sofas will be back at some point. They're not completely gone.
Oh no.
The sofas, we're not going to ditch them completely, Tim. But in terms of the racing tonight, Sebring is a fantastic circuit for every single category of racing. I feel like races like Spa, sometimes they can be a bit dull when it comes to kind of lower powered machinery, at least to drive, but Sebring's got that fantastic mix where not only is it a fantastic home for high powered prototypes, even the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix series used to visit this track as well in Formula 1 cars, but it's also fantastic in MX-5 racing and everything in between. So really nice that we've got this circuit to host not only the Clios but also the Porsche Cups later on. It's
a circuit that, I'll be honest with you, to drive it, I could never get this place right. I don't really like it, but to commentate on, there's always great racing around here, and that's just not me, saying it. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, haven't we? It never fails to deliver, does it, this place? And both in the real world and, of course, in the sim world as well. And this could be something interesting. We were just talking about before the show. We've really seen this, of course, Michelin Pilot Challenge in real life. They visit here, obviously did at the start of the year. Obviously touring cars running that, but Clio Cups, this is a combination you just will not see in real life, and thanks to the beauty of the world of sim racing, we can make it happen. Yeah, it's always fun to have these alternative card track combinations, but yeah, you very much think of the 12 hours when it comes to this circuit, don't you? Easy, yes.
Which it always gets so much attention every single year, but there's no reason why these Clios can't kind of race well around the circuit. It's not an easy circuit to overtake, actually. It reminds me, I know this is maybe a little bit far-fetched, but Barcelona in a way in terms of the racing, because you've got a couple of longer straights, but at the end of them you haven't got those big braking zones, and so overtaking you can follow around this circuit, but actually making that overtake can be quite tricky. You haven't got a long straight into a big hairpin. You've got sort of a 90-degree corner kind of midway around the lap, but that's pretty much it in terms of the big braking areas around this track. So yeah, not the easiest to overtake, and the fact that it's narrow as well can also limit it, but these Clios, one of the most raceable cars, are going to be very much possible. As we have a look at the circuit, and down into turn 7, I think probably the main chance for throughout the racing, I think we're going to see tonight.
It always is, isn't it? You can just see it just sneaking in between us there in that little gap. Always the perennial. It's the biggest braking zone out there, and like you say, it's where we're going to see the most moves done. However, these cars are about momentum. It's always what it's like with low power cars, isn't it, Sam? So I feel the feeling, maybe even into turn 10, we could see a potential. I mean, Sunset Bend, the iconic Sunset Bend, 180 degrees, you can arc around, double back on yourself, so bumpy through there. I think that's going to be a bit of a spectacle, and of course these cars, front wheel drive, known to wash out at the front. I think there could be a few, someone who just gets that right, someone who doesn't understeer, could sneak up the inside and get moves done there. I think that could be an easier overtaking opportunity than what we might first think.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. Obviously, you have that initial part through the kink where, of course, you're skimming the wall quite often, but then you've also got that second part where you properly hit the brakes in order to get around the proper corner at Sunset Bend. I'm also really liking the rescan or the remodeling of the circuit, where now you've got that little bit of a banking on the exit of Sunset, and so particularly in the prototypes, you see the driver skim the wall every single time because that's where the pace is. If you can get the two left tyres onto that, can really help to hook the car around, and so I'm looking forward to seeing that as well tonight, because yeah, in these front wheel drive cars, if you can get a little bit of extra turning on corner exit, it can certainly help you out. Yeah, it will be fascinating around that corner, and of course a good run there will always set you up for turn 1 as well.
Oh, most certainly indeed. And well, talking of setting things up, last time out, Spa, what a race. Should we take a little look back and a bit of a refresh our memory of what happened last time? Of course, but race 1 gets underway. We'll be able to see it. There we go. Everyone heading off into, well, we weren't too sure what it was going to be like. Was it going to be drama? Was it going to be excitement? And well, they all got away relatively cleanly, much to our surprise, realistically, didn't they? Through turn 1. But this, see it right now. Harris up the inside. Beautiful move to get the move done on Fletcher there. And that proved to be quite sort of defining up front in terms of what happened later on in the race. Here we see Modest's brilliant overtake all the way right round the outside to try and get it done. Couldn't quite get it done, then comes back again through Blanchimont. High speed, high commitment, then onto the brakes just to confirm it there. And well, Olsen just left her squirreling in the Team Banana car and to move fully done. And well, I think that was dramatic. It wasn't quite all that way throughout, as we're going to see right now. As here is Godden making contact with Fletcher, and well, round he went, and not quite what he would have hoped for there. And yet again, another free wide making further contact there.
Yeah, Puddicombe was the big loser out on that one. I believe he went down from 4th into 8th position due to that off, and that was a fantastic battle from about 4th down to 10th place throughout that race 1. And then the big controversial moment of the race. Did it deserve a penalty? Did it not deserve a penalty? Well, let you decide. In the end, no protest submitted by Damien Harris. He didn't feel like it should have been a penalty, even though he did lose out from that one, put him down to P2, and Jack Gordon was able to take the race victory, but proper close wheel contact, what we expect in the Clios. And then of course we went for another 20-minute race. It was another race start, and this time it was well, fairly early on, it was actually Telashke who was able to take the lead of the event, but before that there was a huge crash that we can see here down into Eau Rouge, the track narrowing up, and this wiped out 3 or 4 drivers from contention.
Clayton in there, just to take viewing his on-board footage, he got a really good view of it. And well, Telashke versus Puddicombe, beautiful move right around the outside there, and well, Telashke wasn't quite done. This time it was having to defend. Jack Godden sending it around the outside into Lavagna. Great move by the Brit on the Italian to get that one done, and well, Godden wasn't quite done and dusted there. Bit of contact with Harris, and well, those two kept a few blows throughout the race, didn't they?
Yeah, and that of course ruined their chances of challenging Mark Fletcher, who took his 3rd race 2 of the season. Remember, race 2, top 10 inverted. So it's sort of a strange one where it's not necessarily the fastest driver, but I wouldn't say, it's not as though Mark has been finishing like 10th every single race and therefore like having a head start. He's had no advantage over the likes of Godden and Harris. He has just been so good at making his way up through the order. And I think on that last lap, almost identical to what we saw at Brands Hatch. If you're in a two-way fight, being behind, it's not really much of a disadvantage. You can go for the move, you can use the slipstream to get past. If you're in a three-way fight, it's just inevitable that 3rd is going to send it on 2nd and allow 1st to pull away. So I think those 3 guys, who will most likely be at the front tonight as well, watch out for how they deal with that, because I think there's going to be a lot more fighting for that 2nd place, so that they've actually got a chance at the race win. Because if you're 3rd going on to the last lap, to make 2 moves, it's very unlikely.
Never say never though, Sam. Never say never. I mean, it's a big wide entry here. One of the widest entries into a final corner that we've got all season. Plenty of room. Could they go 3 wide through there? I mean,
We've seen it in MX-5s.
We have.
Very famous race finish last year. So.
I was about to say, we've seen it before. Will we see it again? We've got, as you say, 2 races lined up this evening, both 20 minutes apiece. And, I mean, this has been a support series, hasn't it, for the Porsche Cup? So, a brand new format we've done it here, Apex Racing TV, and also within sim racing as a whole. You don't tend to see support races. However, despite being the support act, it's been right up there in terms of pound for pound, in terms of value, excitement and drama.
Yeah, it sure has done, and I think for the championship as well, it's been ever so close so far this season. I think there's a number of drivers still with a fantastic chance. So far though, first 3 rounds of the championship, it is Mark Fletcher leading the way as it stands. Just 5 points clear of Jack Gordon. Interestingly, Fletcher's only won one round of the season compared to Gordon's 2. Gordon's actually scored more points than anyone else in the last 2 rounds. But Fletcher just scored a decent amount more points back at Okayama, so that's why he leads the championship. Damien has had a very disappointing Okayama, crashed in race 1 at turn 2 at Okayama. Been very quick since then. Probably the best man in qualifying so far this season, but he's still got some catching up to do. It's an 8-round championship this, and so with the 1 drop score, you can make up the points later on in the season.
Can, and you will as well. I'm sure that's going to change those top 3. That is such an intriguing battle, and I can't wait to see as we head into the second half of the season how that one progresses. Let's take a little cross into the AM Championship, and well, Scott Malcolm leading the way there, opening up some 25 points over Jay Walsh. I mean, in terms of consistency but strong performances in Amsterdam, Scott Malcolm, he's been hard to beat, and in some ways it's a little bit surprising that he hasn't opened up more of a gap compared to his competitors at only 25 points. I say only 25 points, that's still a healthy margin to be heading at this stage of the season.
Yeah, unfortunately, Scott's got a little bit of compromised practice tonight. He should be able to make the meeting tonight, but joined during qualifying. Of all the meetings to do that, though, really good, because he has actually got a qualifying ban for this round. So, incredible foresight there from Scott. And, of course, he did get a time penalty, which did lose him a couple of places back at Spa. But his qualifying ban shouldn't cost him too bad, and anyway, we know Scott's such a good driver when it comes to racing up through the order. But I would say watch out for Joachim Flodman. Has missed a round so far this season. Once the drop scores are applied, Flodman will be right in there and say, whilst it looks like Malcolm and Walsh are a fair bit ahead of the rest, I think there's still a lot of drivers, particularly those Team Banana drivers, who are going to have a really good chance at the title. And in the team standings as it stands, Altitude Esports fielding many drivers, and it's paid off for them. 7-4-6. Remember, maximum of 3 drivers per team. Top 2 drivers from each round contribute to the point. So it's not as though Altitude have just completely flooded the series with drivers. They've just got 3 drivers, and yet they've just been able to absolutely hammer in the points because of the fantastic results for Mark Fletcher really leading that team. And they've now got a big gap over effect simulations and Waversley.
Definitely. I mean, they've had consistent performances from both Hedgecock and Puddicombe, haven't they, to back up Fletcher's real dominance. And I mean, effect, I do have to wonder if Jack Wilson had just had a bit more luck, a bit more rub of the green on his direction, would that deficit be a lot smaller?
It feels like he started. So sometimes we have these drivers. I think Paul Lang was the same in the GC3 Trophy last season. Very true. Always seem to start at the back, and that's not necessarily qualifying bans, but it's always a case of by the end of lap 1, they are at the back. And I feel like so far Wilson has very much had one of those seasons. Was right in play back at Spa, but made contact with, I believe it was maybe Harris, if I recall correctly, which set him back a little bit. Otherwise, I think he would have been able to stay in the draft and been right in the fight all the way to the final stages. So we know that Wilson's got the pace, and so really it should be a 4-way fight, I think, at the front to join our 3 established championship contenders. But yeah, you've got to put it all together. It's only a matter of time until Wilson does though.
It is indeed. I think it'll be interesting to see how he progresses, and definitely one to watch out for. And I think of that domination of the top 3 between Harris, Fletcher and Godden, I think Wilson could potentially put the cat amount in suspensions. We've seen great qualifying pace from him. Hasn't translated into race pace for the reasons that you've mentioned, Sam. So I think definitely one to watch out for if he can string it together, have a decent, half decent first race, so he's not outside that top 10 and have all the hard work to do in race 2, because that's what's really affected him, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice to see as well if those are the top 4, none of them are in the same team as well. I think sometimes you can have, particularly in kind of tin top racing, if you have teammates, I mean, it's an interesting element, no doubt about it, but it can be such a big advantage because, especially if you take the top 2 positions, the second place driver just defends every single corner. The first place driver is able to pull away in the last couple of laps, and it's very tricky for anyone to break that stranglehold. The fact that there's no alliances amongst those top 4, we've got, Wavitsu driver, we've got Altitude Esports, we've got Privateers. It means that no one's got any kind of affiliation with anyone, and they're all just out for themselves trying to get those race wins. And so I think that should be a very good aspect and should mean that any one of those 4 drivers can take the race victory at any one time.
We'll definitely do indeed. And I think it's going to be... it's going to be interesting tonight to see how the drivers manage this one, because obviously being a brand new car to the iRacing service, you're going to have some translation, aren't you, between track and car combos, taking it from the touring cars, for example, as you mentioned. Masters, okay, they're rear-wheel drive, but there's certain elements of it. Here, this isn't a track you tend to see touring cars come to as much. So it's not like there's a massive amount of real-world data, is there? Like I say, sim race, data, as it were. I think there's going to be. I think we could potentially see. We'll tell the difference between those that have put in a lot of practice, a lot of grind to make, try and understand the track and get the best out of the car, versus maybe those that have arrive and drive. I've driven it in GT3, so therefore I know it. And these cars handle very differently, don't they? Yeah,
and I mean, obviously, I think your dislike for the circuit is excessive. Is a word that I would use to describe it.
You don't like Daytona.
I'm not a big fan of driving this circuit either. I have won the 12 hours here, so I can't be that bad at it.
Just saying.
But it's still not a fantastically satisfying one for me because it's just so tricky. Because you've got to just thread the needle. The curbs are so threatening, and you've got to use the curbs as well at several of these corners, like we're seeing in the background there. If you can hook the tyres onto the curbs, it can be a big advantage. But then the slowdowns can cost you poorly as well. The off chats can be very tricky. It is a really demanding circuit, this, and so if you've got GT3 experience, that's not necessarily going to be. You need to relearn the circuit when it comes to Clio Cup. It's going to be very tricky.
And you say about those slowdowns, they are harsh around here. We saw that at Spa, just how painful they were for so many of our drivers, losing out big time, losing place after place after place, and there's real danger here, even more so, at least at Spa. The track's quite flowing, yes, okay, if you get pushed offline, you could find a way back in there. Here, you get pushed offline, it's like, well, to use another American terminology, it's like NASCAR, isn't it? If you're on the high line and there's no one else with you, you just lose place after place after place. You might be, second or third, but you could find yourself at the back very quickly and very easily, where you're just getting mugged by everyone who's on the line and just keeping you pushed out.
Yeah, I expect to see the slow lane down the back straights around here at Sebring when drivers take a little bit too much curve through Le Mans, and that will really badly affect them, so keep your eyes out for that one. I will just give a quick shout out as well. Of course, this is one of several Apex Racing League series that Apex Racing League host, and one of the new championships, Tim, which is going to be
so excited
announced,
about this one.
which unfortunately isn't actually visiting this circuit, but we've got some pretty good circuits, so Road Atlanta and Road America.
I will give it to you. You have smashed it with the calendar.
Really good tracks, and this is all for the Apex Racing League Endurance Championship. You can check out more details at apexracingleague.com. But 3 classes: LMDH, LMP2, and GTD cars, and that is going to be over the course of 6 rounds over the course of a couple of months. First round is on the 26th of May. So if you want to get involved in some endurance racing, and involving, of course, this fantastic studio that we have as well, and live stewarding and cash prizes as well, do check out apexracingleague.com and get your team signed up.
Cash prizes as well.
Cash prizes, £1,500 of cash prizes. So it's worth.
Surely there's not going to be more prizes on top of that as well.
Well, of course. We always have the SDK and the Apex Racing Academy subscriptions and the trophies as well. Always fantastic to see the drivers with their trophies, and it's going to be a fun championship.
One of the biggest ones yet, and something I'm really looking forward to. It's like you've gone, let's pick all Tim's favourite tracks for the first 4 rounds, and let's go there in car combinations. It's my favourite as well. Yeah. You've really excelled yourself on this one, Sam. But I think back to tonight, race 1. Who's your favourite?
Probably not Mark Fletcher. I'll go Mark Fletcher race 2, obviously. If you're not going for Mark Fletcher in race 2, then you don't appreciate, you know, statistics and probabilities. So I think I'll go Damien Harris. I think Harris will take pole position, just defend all the way. Maybe there'll be a bit of fight for second place behind him, which will allow him to get away. I don't think the draft fit will be quite as strong around this circuit. So I think if Harris can take that pole position, as we've seen him take a few times already this season, I think he's going to be very tricky.
Not Jack Gordon?
Gordon tends to qualify a little bit lower down, sort of 3rd or 4th, and then make his way up. His race craft is very good, Jack Gordon, so I'm not 100% sure about that one. So maybe race 2, but yeah, for me, Harris and Fletcher.
I mean, it's got to be between those top 3 in the championship for the podium overall.
Yeah. I mean, what were you going to say, Tim? Because you always sit on the fence on this.
I do. I was inclined more towards Jack Gordon for race 1.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. A bit of a competition. Yeah. Watch this. Curse of the commentator. They'll both all crash out. Well, all 3 of them will crash out and finish near the back, and we'll have a random winner.
Exactly. Well, qualifying is just getting underway. You can see the stream of cars exiting the pits behind us. So we'll have a short break, and then we'll be heading over to Sebring International and getting this race 1 underway.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome back. Like intermission there. And while we are live, qualifying underway. Just getting underway, in fact. Still a long outlap around here. We were just talking about it in the break there. Drivers, realistically, they've got 1 or 2 tactics here, haven't they, Sam? Fuel the car up, they can fit in 3 flying laps. Or do you go with a lighter car, have 1 outlap, a flying lap, come in and do that again? Even though it's going to be close to be able to get to being able to get the car around in time. I mean, I think realistically, it's going to be a fair few drivers out there. Certainly those who are later across the line, who have only got 2 opportunities here to get a lap in due to, as mentioned, it's such a long lap time here.
Yeah, I think you just got to fuel it up for the session. I mean, I say fuel it up, it's a fixed setup series. So you're limited, you're fixed with 30 litres, which you start off with, and then you can burn off the fuel as the session goes on. Albeit these are decently, they're not actually that fuel conservative. I think they use 3 litres a lap at Spa, which I was quite surprised at because a GT3 only uses about 3.5 litres.
Well, it seems like only a 1.6 turbo.
Yeah, it's not really designed though when it comes to fuel efficiency for going flat out for about 30 seconds straight. It's more kind of city driving, I guess.
Sam. It's a hot hatch. It's country road, B-road blasts. That's what a Renault Clio Sport is all about. And I haven't driven its older cousin, brother, sister, however you want to word it, but McGann Rally Sport, I tell you, they do make a cracking hot hatch do right now. That's why they're so known, and Clio Cup is just so popular. And good to see a bit of something we haven't seen a bit of a while. Robin Veerman of Effect. There he is with Jack Wilson. How are those two going to get on tonight? Interested to see how the Effect guys just working together there in qualifying. To make that one out. Now, just having a bit of a look. Your first stop is going to be set by Janos Modos. Talasco are going to be across the line. Harris is going to follow quickly suit. Who is going to take pole position here? Find out very, very shortly. And well, honours, initially, it's Connor Gibb. That's beaten by 2/10 by Harris. Times coming in left, right and centre. Sam, Fletcher, that's Paul. All the way down in 8th there, Sam.
Yeah, they seem to be holding back quite a bit with the altitude drivers on their outlap, and yeah, they did not get that first particularly strong lap in. So only one more lap for him, because once the 10 minutes is up, that's it. So they only get two laps to these drivers. They're just short of a third lap. So a lot of pressure now. So it's pretty much like the official series as Wilson goes to second position, only 700 or a second off. He's definitely got the pace here, as Jack Wilson been a spluttering season for him so far. Hasn't been able to put the results together, but no doubt he's got the pace.
Talking of Jacks, here comes Jack Godden across the line. What is he going to manage? No purple sectors showing for him. And wow, that's only good enough for 5th, unqualified by top. I mean, Talasco, that is a cracking lap from him. It really shows what the Italian has managed to put together there. And Olsen being the second in AM. All the way down to 9th, so there's 5 positions between them. That's what some free grid rows as things stand, Sam. Talasco can hold on to that one. If he could hold on to that one, that's the most crucial part. With Fletcher still well off the pace, of course, in that opening lap.
I'm not sure if I just... I think maybe on the commentary computer last night, I'm not sure if we had the paints downloaded, because I am absolutely stunned by Andrea Talasco's paint. It is so good. I want to unwrap that and eat it, because it looks like a wrapped up chocolate from a celebrations thing, or something like a chocolate thing. Tim's looking quite
I was like, you just drown there,
yes,
yourself as you like.
Dig myself a hole as people think, wow, this guy's weird. And but I think it looks really good, so I think maybe #1 paint out there. Congratulations, Andrea.
You're saying it's a celebration. There we go. Right, we've got some people coming across the line. Deep breaths are plenty, and deep breaths in qualifying. Talasco, 4th. Is it an improvement? Cuts the timing beam. There's a wait for the times to kick in, and well, no, from him.
And that's it for his qualifying.
He's
another one.
Yeah, he's not going to have time to get round again. Hedgecock goes 10th. As Fletcher, wow, look at that, from the back of the grid to the second row. 2/10 off the pace, but Harris improved as well, because he's pulled an extra 10th on Wilson in second, still remaining in your provisional pole sitter. Verman's the interesting one. He had his first lap time deleted. Walsh, he's not going to qualify again. Obviously, he's got Malcolm Shett serving that qualifying ban, and I think Verman. No, I'm not seeing a time pot for it. I think he's had that time deleted, so he'll start from the back.
Yeah, it will be tricky for him to get up there. The man who scored the 7th most points of anyone back at Okayama is a competitive driver, and yeah, we'll struggle to do a whole lot from there. Albeit race 2, of course, within the top 10 RFS, he'll certainly be fancying his chance for that. Gordon does improve, but not a whole lot. So Jack, like I said earlier on, he usually only qualifies sort of 3rd or 4th, and once again, it's a bit of an underwhelming qualifying for him. He is really good on the lap ones, and he's going to have to be tonight. Honestly, I think the most impressive, I mean, Talasco's shown a lot of pace so far this season. Last couple of rounds, he's been really strong, but I think Connor Gibb is the surprise for me. I mean, Gibb up there in 4th place. He has been good this season, Gibb. I mean, after all, he's up in 9th place in the championship, was particularly strong back at Okayama. But that's some time for him to only be 3.5 tenths off the fastest lappers. Damien Harris is still pushing out there. I think Harris might just get this lap in. I think he'll miss out by 3 seconds or so, but it will be close. He doesn't really need it. I don't think there's anyone maybe Connor Gibb ahead of him. Gibb will complete his lap. I think Harris would just be short.
Maybe Janos Monos, potentially. He's slightly ahead of Damien Harris.
Yeah.
So, this is going to be tight. Wilson did improve on his second lap. To close the gap to Harris, half a tenth, 500ths of a second is all that separates our top two. Wilson will not get round again, so he's out the equation.
Yeah, I think it's all about Gibb. Gibb is approaching the line at the moment. He is just going to make it. Here we go. Has he made it on the 10 minutes? It wasn't an improvement. One anti-climax. Connor Gibb, you should be ashamed of yourself, man. Because that would have been spectacular had he pulled that off.
Yes, Models, he wasn't far behind. I mean, it was just on the exit of Sunset, but because you're the cruel, harsh reality of Sam Fitzpatrick, who administers this league, putting the hard and fast close on qualifying. No messing, and that's it. Done and dusted. You've had your time limit. No afters. Harris starts on pole. Here in round number 4 from Sebring. Wilson joins him on the front row with Fletcher and Gibb making up row 2. Row 3, his top qualifier in Andrea Tolasco, joined by Jack Gordon. Janos Monos has Kim Behave for company on row 4. Row 5, ran out his top 10. It's Luke Barr and Miko Queetman. Patrick Olsen, second in the end. He's got Adam Hedgecock for company on row 6. Row 7, that sees Hedera and Hans Verheij line up alongside one another. Row 8 is Clist with Walsh and Veerman, who had all his times deleted, starts from in the penultimate position, just like his teammate starts one from the top. Scott Malcolm, qualifying band, so he will start from the back. And here come the lights. Let's get ready to go racing from Sebring. Race 1 in the evening is green and we are away. And who will come out with a victory here from Sebring? As 18 Clio Cups steam down towards turn 1. Everyone playing relatively calmly. Harris has got in front of Wilson. Wilson has a look down the inside, though. This could change the lead, as instantly Wilson pulls alongside and pulls slightly out in front. And this is going to be tight onto the brakes. Who's going to brake as late as they dare? And they're still side by side. They almost bang wheels. They almost... Well, I suppose none of them last the wing mirror, but Harris gets it done eventually, and everyone just making their way through here in the midfield. And everyone's got away cleanly, Sam.
Yeah, just got in game past Tolasco, so that's sort of what we anticipated. Jack on with another strong launch, but fantastic effort there from Wilson. Wasn't able to make it stick, but a really good like fight for the race lead there, as they are fighting further back. A little bit of a hold up into the head in this first time round. Gordon to defend from Tolasco right now, but he's been able to make that position stick. And in fact, Tolasco falling into the clutches of Modos as Gibb. As we got Tolasco off the circuit, spinning way off the track, and that must have been a collision with Janos Modos.
Tumbles through the order. Well, look at that effect car. That is Robin Veerman.
And Fletcher up to second.
Oh yeah, he's got ahead of Wilson.
Yeah, Wilson's made a mistake. Wilson's lost a lot of time.
It's dropped right back, and Fletcher. I mean, Harris is already second ahead of these guys, and Wilson coming under a lot of pressure. He's got Gibb and Godden all over him, and the flash of the lights there from Godden. No, sorry, from Gibb even. Clearly maybe not impressed by something that's happened previously. Olsen now leads out. He is 10th. Veerman, though, up 6 places, starting in 17th, up into 11th now. How much further can he climb here in Florida? Remains to be seen. There he is, Robin Veerman. Flying Dutchman right now. See the whole field in one straight. They're just lined up. Playing it safe early here, Sam. But not many laps around here. I mean, we're talking about 8, 9 laps potentially around here. It's not a lot of set opportunities to get moves done. You've got to go up bold, go early as well.
Slide. Got Olsen. Oh, well, Olsen's in the middle of the circuit. And
that's from the lead.
That banana.
Served a qualifying ban. No problem. Hold my beer. Watch this, says Scott Malcolm. Now leads in 13th overall in 1 lap, Sam. No messing from him whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a move up back from Tolasco. He's making his way up. He despite that spin, it's not far off the pack, and so he should be able to fight for a top 10 finish. That's all he can really hope for now. But Height is moving past Modus. Remember, Modus was the man who made contact with Telasco earlier on. As Paul Joseph Bliss is a slight setback. But Modus is now offline, and he's going to lose out to Lloyd Barb, who had an underwhelming qualifying to Barb, down in 9th position. He was fighting for top 5s last time out at Spa, so a bit surprising that the former Formula Renault 2.0 race winner in Apex Racing League is quite that far down. So far, he cannot get past Yanis Modus, who defended very well through the head.
On board with said driver. Driver's right is Kimber Height. Is this going to be the move done? He's going to have to go around the outside. Here's Modus onto the brakes. Can he keep his nose in there? But Height bounces across the curve, but can't secure the position from him right now. Sam, as they still remain side by side, neither of them wanting to give an inch, neither of them budging, but somebody's got to lose out at some stage, and it's Yanis Modus who has to tuck in behind Height.
That was really good work there from Bahait to consolidate. But of course, it was not completely overdone when there's so many drivers. It will be tricky to keep tabs. As here is a replay of the side. And this was a send, wasn't it? It really was a send from Jack Wilson. And Harris did a really good job not to panic. He didn't just turn in as though there's no cars on the inside. Instead, he waited behind ever so slightly. And then got that strong exit, and once again just left room. Good driving as well from Wilson, because he goes so easy to understand. Just a tiny bit of contact in these cars means disaster.
Just looking in live pictures, bit of action down into Sunset right now as the Height Modus battle continues.
And that was that was the Modus contact. I'm not sure whose fault that was, so it ended up with Telasco going round. And that was also the move as well for Fletcher, and I think there may have been contact here with Wilson, a little bit of a tap. Fortunately, the cars didn't bounce across one another. It was very light, and they got through all right.
Making it through in the live picture, Sam. Modus has dropped a position or two.
Yeah,
Logan Veerman is absolutely flying. He's now up 9 places into 8th, having started in 17th. Great from the great return to the championship from the FX driver.
Bahait was wide through turn 2. Bahait was wide, and that's allowed like Barb to do.
Barb got the move done where Bahait was side by side with Modus coming through Sunset. Modus lost out. That allowed Barb to come through. Veerman said, "Thank you very much. I'll take a bit of place while you're at it." And now it's 2 by 2, like the animals coming onto Noah's Ark, down into the hairpin, and Modus is going to lose 1 place to Veerman. He could even lose a place to Quignan right now, who's now pulled alongside him, Sam. And well, they're now... Well, I thought there were 3 sets of side by side, but they've just up ahead of him managed to sort themselves out. But Height's got ahead of Lloyd Barb. I mean, all this battling is absolutely fascinating to watch. They are losing touch with the top 5 as Veerman gets ahead of Yanis Modus, who's tumbled through this little group right now and could lose further places as Headshot gets the move done and Koitinen. Or does he, Sam? Or does he? Waiting for him to come in pictures. Yes, he has. He's snuck it through.
Starting down in 12th place. Strange for Joe, who qualified as high as P5, I believe, at Grand Touch, and wasn't too far down at Spa either. So expect Hedgecock to have much more pace come the race. And we've got this 4-car battle. We've been waiting for this all season because always something's happened to one of them. 90% of the time that's been Jack Wilson. But this time, they're all there. And this is a fight. And now we've got so for the lead as well, because Mark Fletcher picking up the draft, and despite the MotoGP line down the back straight, there is little that Damien Harris can do. He managed to defend on the outside on lap 1, not this time, but he gets the cutback, and that is so powerful in these cars because you can get on the power much earlier, and that's a comfortable retaliation there for Damien Harris. And well, Fletcher will even be under pressure now from Jack Wilson.
Wilson tried to follow Harris through, couldn't get it done. Godden elected for the just wide, swooping, continuous line around the outside. And back to this battle, they will not lead each other alone. Veerman pulls out there from the train, trying to have a look up the inside. And I'll tell you what, he's lost a place. That's the Adam Hedgecock. He's throwing some shapes there, and Veerman's actually dropped a couple of places because he was in 8th. Was it? Yeah, Veerman was, and well, Hedgecock, as much as he's just nicked that place from Veerman says, thank you very much, I'll have that back from you. Jonas Monos looks to slip his way through. This constantly evolving and changing around time. It's absolutely fascinating and intriguing to watch, and any of them could compete at these places, any of them could finish in any order. I just hope they can all remain together as Hedgecock, well, Modos, he's gone from battling with Bahate at the front of this train to now, well, he's nearest damn it at the back. Herodier, the only car behind him, and well, he's going to sneak it through. Oh, there's contact, and they managed to save it there somehow. And that's going to surely mean Jonas Monos is going to fall to the back, unless well, he's going to be on the inside here, might sneak it through. Oh, Sam, what a battle. I mean, it's hard to know where to look. Intriguing battle for the front. The best of the rest, so they're all scrapping it out. But I think he's made a mistake, Sam. He's dropped 2 or 3 places here.
Yeah, he might be on the grass, so he tries to consolidate this move on Modos. Sure, we'll get a replay of that incident in a few moments, as Modos finally should keep 11th place. There you go, Herodier just dipping out of it, but will undoubtedly be coming back soon, as this man is as well, Mark Fletcher. Well, there's a fair few different places to overtake, it seems, around this circuit, because he's been able to send it on that occasion into Gentebian Curve and then Le Mans Curve as well. And now we head down the Auburn Straight into Sunset Bend, and it'll be a reversal of where they were last time out. And, well, right now, Wilson and Godden just thinking, what are they going to do? Well, Wilson's giving Fletcher a nice bump draft there.
He is indeed, Salmon. Oh, as Fletcher run it in too deep, he hangs on for dear life right on the inside. Wilson's lost a place to Godden, who sneaked it through as Wilson looks for the switchback, Sam. And they're going to come out 2 sets of 2 out of Sunset. Harris still holds on to this one, but Fletcher's got down low. He's managed to pull alongside here, and surely this is going to be the final change to the lead as we reach the 10-minute mark, and Harris is surely going to have to yield, but he doesn't, Sam. Look at him, he's desperately trying to keep his nose in there to prevent Fletcher from really just taking a stranglehold onto this race.
He was a slightly further ahead back on that one when he defended from that position, so this time he can't, but he sends it without any hesitation. And they're alongside again. This circuit just isn't wide enough though for Gordon and Wilson to really make an impact, and they are racing hard. You might be thinking, why are they racing so hard? But from what we're seeing so far this season, you really don't want to be 3rd or 4th going to the last lap. You want to be in those top 2 if you're going to be able to win a race, as they are going to go through wide now. Gordon sending it, they have to leave room. Fletcher looks like Harris spins around, no fault of his own, and you'll have to push very hard to get anywhere near those top guys by the end as they all scamper away. Gordon leads the race now, and that was just a bold move there from Gordon, but I don't think it broke the Wilson anyway.
I don't think I've ever seen a 3 wide into that corner, Sam.
No, I don't think I have. Maybe multi-class, but not in single class.
Oh, even multi-class, Sam, it's hard, isn't it, to try and get a 3 wide into there just for the width of the machinery. But Godden has gone from 4th, what? 1 lap at this point last lap, he was in 4th. He now leads here at Sebring for the Apex Racing League Clio Cup. Meanwhile, best of the rest. Well, Fletcher's got ahead of Godden. Oh, contact.
That was miles off.
Oh, Godden's
I think
gone
that was
well
well
off here
as well. I don't think they actually made contact.
That's surely going to be a big old slowdown.
Yeah. That's a couple of seconds.
Is he going to have... Oh, yeah, he's serving it. There you go. You can hear him favouring the throttle, desperately trying to scrub it off right now is Jack Godden. But coming right behind him is Harris and Gibb. Meanwhile, further down the field, Talasco is suddenly... After making that contact, Sam, he's now into the lead of AM, up into 11th. And Malcolm, from looking pretty at the top of AM, is just down a couple of places. Hedgecock's been absorbed into this battle, but they've all pretty much compressed up into one another. Although Veerman and Bahate have managed to, and Barb have managed to clear off into the distance and separate themselves from, wow, all the craziness that was all going on. So this is now turned into the battle for 9th, but it involves Modos, Herodier, Talasco, Hedgecock, Queenan, and Malcolm at the trail end. And I think that just about explains everything those pictures we're seeing.
Yeah, everyone's got someone to fight against, which is nice to see. As Herodier's done. Well, these guys cannot be separated, can they? Herodier has actually got ahead now of Talasco, and now he's lost to Talasco. There goes, well, if Talasco can actually make this one stick, I'd love to see some yellow cars out here. We've got 3 of them in a row right now. Oh, there's a little bit of contact, a big slide, and look at the way that Hedgecock, who must have had a setback because he was ahead of these guys at one point. He's a long way back, but now he's got an absolutely terrific run, as here was a replay of Kimber Heights losing out. Now let's see, was there contact between the top 2 here? Oh, apologies, this was that previous. Well, there's certainly no contact here, this is just a good move from that coach.
It was absolutely scintillating move between those two. So they went side by side, not willing to yield an inch. There is that, well, 3 wide into sunset, no messing whatsoever. I think this is where it starts to kick off. This is the lap, Sam. There's nothing between them. Here we go, onto the brakes, and Harris just couldn't quite keep his nose in there to remain side by side.
This is a great time. I mean, maybe Fletcher should have covered this off. Maybe it was inevitable that
he left the door open for him massively.
Yeah, and that was good there from Harris. You can see how much space he's leaving. And then Fletcher just trying to avoid contact. There was nothing he could do there in the middle. And Harris was just unlucky.
Get back out of it, Sam. Look, you can see that there.
Maybe Harris could have left a bit more space, do you think? He would have been told he was 3 wide.
It's hard to see. It's definitely hard to see. Between them.
No, that's not close. That's definitely good. And anyway, obviously, as we stated many times, I don't want to be a broken record, but the cars shouldn't react like that. I mean, that's like door handles tapping one another. You know, you shouldn't have a car bouncing off the circuit in that way.
So it's a 2-way fight for the lead. It's a 3-way fight for third. And we've got Luke Barb, who's started to really get away now from Kimber Height and Van Meeren. It's Heredia. Oh, he must be serving a slowdown there, Sam. Far right-hand side of the track, left side of your picture. I'm going slowly, getting overtaken by quite a few cars. He drops to the back of this, well, scramble right now, and that's all the way up to Telasco in 10th.
Going to be tight between Telasco, Hedgecock and Koizinen. Well, it might not be tight, to be fair. I mean, Telasco was a fair bit faster than those 2 drivers in qualifying, so he might be able to pull away. But Koizinen feels like he's faster than Hedgecock. He's going to send it into turn 1. And this is going to lose them sort of any hope of getting into the top 10 at Heredia. Takes some very liberal track limits through turn 1 on that occasion. Hedgecock always one of the fairest drivers out there, so fully expect him to be leaving the space as he is right now. But credit to Koizinen as well, also very well managed as Harris getting past Gordon for P3. Gordon had about a second over Harris when he served that slowdown, but Harris so quick out there. He's not going to take the race 1 victory like I thought he was going to, but he is now into the podium place. It's not over yet, as we're seeing from Jack Gordon's driving. He's not going to hesitate to send it again. Oh, as Malcolm and Heredia collided, it looks like. That's quite a big one.
Yeah, it does look like a big one, and Heredia has just dropped behind the Hayes, so good for him. But your money was on Harris, mine was on Gordon. That's not worked out too well for either of us, Sam. Although Conor Gibb, he's got a sneaky outside chance here of making it into third. Does he want to? Because that means reverse grid. He'll start ahead of these guys. Is he better off in some way sitting in 5th and playing the numbers game, the long game here?
He started ahead of Gordon for this race, and that didn't last very long. So I think
very
he
true.
can take whatever points he can get on a Gibb for No Limits Racing. But this is Gibb's best performance of the season. Okayama, he did score the 4th most points of anyone, but I feel like I haven't seen him produce this much pace. Only 4.8 seconds off the lead, and in the draft he's able to stay with Harris and Gordon. So really good to see another driver join the fray as the season progresses, and you still think that a podium might be possible after this. Wilson closing back down. The gap was up to 9/10 to Fletcher, but it's back down under 6/10. There's hope for this race win still.
Or some. They've got this lap plus 1 more left to go.
Yeah,
really,
they're just edging the extra.
I mean, I think that's... If they've remained battling, I think we might have even struggled potentially to fit it in, but looking like we're going to have 9 laps here from Sebring here today. Of course, still got another race to come up after this one, race 2. Make sure you stay tuned for that one, of course, later on. Porsche Cup. Definitely make sure you're tuned for that one. But some half an hour after we get off air from this one, straight into Porsche Cup.
Yeah, we get some great racing spot. I thought it was a very good round for that. So do make sure you keep tuned. Because yeah, back at Sebring, really cool. Because it's like Tim was saying earlier on back in the studios, you don't usually see support series in sim racing, and we haven't matched up all the tracks between the Clios and the Porsches, but Sebring absolutely made sense. It's so good for both sets of cars, and yeah, really nice to have this format in Crew.
I won't lie, Sam, I was a little bit dubious about the Clios around here, but you've completely and utterly sold me. So I'm seeing right now, Robin Veerman. There's a few rounds off, comes back with a bang. Can't quite get a qualifying lap in, had both his times deleted. Was he helping Wilson get higher up? Maybe that was part of the case. But starts from 17th. And right now on course at 8th place, up 9. Jonas Modos looking to demote him one. He wants 8th from him. Wow, what was a massive long train these guys were part of. Broken up to Bar versus Behave, Veerman versus Modos, Talasco all by himself, and then it's Queenan versus Hedgecock and Olsen, a freeway battle over 11th. Of course, Talasco leading in he lost the lead, fell right to pretty much the back of Am, has come back to reclaim that. He's going to make the top 10. Well, up front, Fletcher and Wilson. Going to start the final lap, Sam. Here we go. Who's going to take it? You said you don't want to be in third. There's no free cars. There's only two. It's a two-way fight. Unlike this one, God, and sent it to the inside of Harris. We've been here before. So has Harris on the outside. He knows how to defend it. And that's how you take momentum and speed through turn one, Sam.
Really good commitment Devon has. He's so good on the power, it seems. We saw that Sunset Bend earlier on as well. He really is able to punch out the corner, seems to get the car all sorted up very early in the corner and carrying fantastic pace as once again. Wilson not quite close enough to send it. Remember, Fletcher going for the title, he's usually a fairly cautious driver. At the best of times, or the worst of times, is Mark Fletcher. Whereas Wilson's got nothing to lose. He's not really in the championship race. He's got maybe a small chance at the title, but he would need a remarkable run of form, really. And we'll just be looking for a race win. So if he sends it, then expect Wilson to be the far more aggressive driver, the one he's not going to back out.
Well, can Harris hold on to third, that last podium place here in race one as we're well into overtime? Last lap. Let's sort of opportunities. This is all or nothing now for Godden if he wants to be on the podium here. Has Conor Gibb got something tucked up his sleeve to surprise us all in the final half a lap? I mean, it's going to take a lot from Gibb. Maybe even contact between Harris and Godden, which is another question. Oh, Godden. He's looking, he's biding his time, he's waiting for that moment, Sam.
Yeah, he's just lining this one up, want to get as good an exit as possible onto the final straight. As Wilson is right in play here, we're going to be super tight for P1, it's going to be super tight for P3 as well. Fletcher's doing nothing defensively against Wilson so far. When is Wilson going to pull out? Is he going to go for the first part, or is he going to wait for the second? Here he goes, but he's almost being put into a concrete wall. Now he commits, does Jack Wilson. This is the move for the lead at the final corner of this race one at Sebring. They come within millimetres of contact, and it is a completely straight fight. Wilson leading the way, and he will take his first race victory of the season. Jack Wilson for Effect Simulations winning out race one at Sebring.
Wow, look at these close times coming across the line. Top two separated by half a tenth, in fact under that. And then 2 tenths separating third and fourth, as you mentioned. Harris getting it, there's Godden, Gibb. Veerman in the end, up those 9 places into 8th. Great return from him. Talasco wins in Am. Then it's Olsen. Malcolm is going to take, well, looks like third in Am, so a great drive from him. Vahish in the end couldn't see up Herodier despite last corner heroics there. He finishes across in 16th, so we'll wait for the last few drivers to come across the line and we will bring you up some results. Sam, wow, what a spectacle that was. We thought we were saying in the build-up, not many chances to overtake around here. Yeah, I think we got that one a little bit wrong, didn't we? We've just been shown.
Yeah, and there are many places to overtake as well. I mean, like we identified Sunset Bend, we identified the hairpin, maybe turn 1. But, you know, we saw Fletcher go for that overtake into Genderby and Bend, apologies. And Cunningham Corner as well. Fletcher was, I mean, making these moves around pretty much any of these corners. So, yeah, plenty of chances. We go into a 3-minute break, and there were the race 1 results. Wilson beating out Fletcher for the first time this season, but still championship extension for Mark Fletcher. Damien Harris does need to start making up these points. He's of course had a poor round 1, did Harris at Okayama, and then got beat on points by both Gordon and Fletcher in the past 2 rounds, and that's not exactly the race 1 he wanted, but we'll very much be looking for the race 2 win. Jack Gordon in 4th place, and it's Connor Gibb with a great performance in 5th. Loic Barb, Kim Bahait, Robin Veerman, Janos Modos, Andrea Talashko will take reverse grid pole. Then it was Mikko Koitsinen, Adam Hedgecock, Patrick Olsen, Scott Malcolm, Juan Carlos Heredia, Hans Verheege, Paul Joseph Clist, and Jay Walsh. And you do love to see it, 18 drivers perfectly filling up our results board.
Kindly provided by SDKGaming.com.
Yeah, we provide our overlay and also, of course, a fantastic heads-up display, live timing, and some fantastic technology to help you out on iRacing for if you're streaming or broadcasting or just racing. So yeah, do check them out, sdkgaming.co.uk.
Should we have a quick break now and have some commercial messages, and then and some replays, and we'll come back and we'll live for race 2 here from Sebring. See you shortly. Welcome. We are back. For those brilliant companies, a chance to display some of their products here. The gap between the 2 races from Sebring. Race 2 not far away. Who's going to come out on top? Who is going to come out on top, Sam? I just do not know anymore. I mean, it's unpredictable, this series, at the best of times, but tonight, I think, you know, we were, as you said just before the break, we thought probably about 2 or 3 chances to overtake around here. No, they have a go at every single corner. No messing.
And you say that it's been unpredictable so far this season, but I am absolutely staying resolute. Mark Fletcher's going to win this race. He's won all 3 race 2s so far this season. Why? A little bit of coincidence, but also obviously a lot of skill. I'm not denying that, but he's lined up 3 of them so far this season. He's going to win tonight as well, even though he started back in 9th place. But it's Andrea Talasco, the only in the top 10 in the reverse grid, Tim, who takes pole position for tonight.
He does. He's got Janos Monos for company on the first row. Veerman starts alongside, but hey, Veerman showed great pace. Watch him from the second row. Look, Barb has got Connor Gibb for company. Row 3, row 4 sees Godden and Harrison alongside another. And Fletcher and race 1 winner Jack Wilson round out your top 10. Row 5, row 6 is Mikko Koitsinen and Adam Hedgecock. 7 is Olsen and Malcolm. Heredia's got Haitian for company, and Clist and Jay Walsh ran out your 9 car grid. Well, 9 row grid. Here come the lights. as we are green. We are racing for the second time this evening from Sebring. Who's going to get it? Who's going to take it? Talasco is not hanging around. He will not give this one up as he's going to take the lead into turn 1. Or is he? Because Monos is going to make it uncomfortable. Look at Veerman though. He's the one to watch out for. Is he going to sneak through? And is he going to sneak through that great big gap in the middle? As well, that's Godden running wide there. All rejoins the track and avoids everyone. So they go 3 wide here.
And Harris in the middle this time. He was losing out earlier on. He's going to lose out again as off the circuit goes Jack Godden. And that is a huge setback for one of our championship contenders. 2 of our championship contenders straight away. But it's Modos leading the way. Veerman taking advantage of Talasco going wide at turn 1. And Mark Fletcher already up 3 places. Him and Jack Wilson making up good progress right now. As this might be a change for the lead. I think Veerman sent it into the hairpin. Has he got it stuck? He's going to make the apex. A little bit of door banging between the 2 of them. But Veerman should have this one done.
Squeezing Modos onto the gravel there, but look at Talasco. He's pushing Veerman practically through here to secure this place. And also to come along with him and take himself up into second as he looks to make it 3 wide. Backs out of it, Behates. He's looking a bit tasty there in 4th. Don't discredit him whatsoever, but it's advantage Veerman. He can take control here from Sebring. And well, just in the background there, you previously saw Jay Walsh just going off. He falls right to the back. Behate and on to Lasco. And Behate gets it done. He's up into 3rd. Harris all cut off himself to Connor Gibb. As we see Wilson running blind there. He's just lost about, what, 4, 5, maybe even 6 places, is Connor Gibb.
Yeah, such a strong race one as well. Wilson going off the circuit. That didn't help him too much either. He's lost touch with Mark Fletcher. Harris up in 7th. Like, he was at 90 degrees to the circuit for.
Yeah.
And yet he's barely lost any places whatsoever, so he might still be able to win this race a bit. I think I might see a bit of damage on the front of that car. Koivunen with a slowdown, and he's taking that slow lane, which I identified earlier on. Adam Hedgecock in 9th place, and yeah, Koivunen dropping way down the order now. But Harris trying to get the draft. It'll be the 1-1 though of Mark Fletcher. He's up to 4th place. Fletcher is so good in these reverse grid races, and he might actually fulfill one of my prophecies. Oh, look, I'll slow the top 3 out. Fletcher might be off into the lead by turn 1 here. They're all so slow ahead of him.
Well, they were just all fighting with one another. Veerman, look at him hugging the inside. It's a desperate, mad rush here. A trolley dash to get to the inside line. Fletcher looks left, he looks right. As he's, well, I thought they were going to make it 4 wide there. Backs out of it. Veerman's got a hold on it, but Behate, so Modos there. No, it is Behate, apologies, trying to squeeze through, but look at that. Fletcher, no messing, takes out the 3 of them in 1 corner. Says, if you're going to mess up the racing line, I'll have it. I can take this one. What a move, Sam.
Might be one of the moves for 2022 we've just seen. That is incredible there for Mark Fletcher. He lines it up perfectly. He didn't get too aggressive on the brakes into turn 1. He could have made it 4 wide like you were speculating he might do. Instead, he just got the cutback earlier on the pad than everyone else and passed with a little bit of grass to help him out as well. Damien Howes will be frustrated about that. He hasn't really done anything wrong there. He's being aggressive himself, as we've just seen, and yet he is 4 places behind his main rival and 1.9 seconds behind as well. No doubt he'll get up into P2, but maybe the work has already been done by the championship leader.
Also, race 1 winner Wilson, he's back in 7th. After making that strong start, maybe that's 6th actually, after making that strong start, he fell back a little bit. If he'd remained with Fletcher, he would have been up there fighting it at the top, and he would have had his teammate Veerman for company. Further down through the field, that's Loic Barb just getting promoted for us Modos. Wow, it's another one of the altitude esports cars. That's Hedgecock slipping his way through up into 8th. He's having a great race. He's at 4 places already. So is Wilson. Actually, that's Heredia and Modos scrapping it away, and hopefully there's no contact between them. There's Harold. Well, that's contact, isn't it, between Behate and that was Harris.
And again, that's just the contact mod. I think that was doors hitting one another, and yeah, for some reason one of the cars just flipping round as a big slowdown there for Adam Hedgecock, I believe that was. Adam had been able to get himself up a few places there, but when the field is so compressed like that, he's going to go back to behind where he started to press it.
Also, this is 3 wide into Sunset. We've seen this before, and it doesn't end well.
Well, it usually ends well for Jack Godden. That's the 2nd time he's been on the inside 3 wide, and yeah, turned out great both times.
I mean, Godden fell right to the back. Let's not forget, he's done well to recover up until 10th place. Next up for him is Gibb and Heredia. Well, those two having a real scrap now, and Heredia can out looking to dispatch of Janos Modos, who's practically been in reverse this race. He's down 5 places after starting on the second row of the grid, and he's making it very, very hard right now for the Spaniard.
Track there for Olsen, who's having a tough time with it actually tonight. Olsen for Team Banana, who we asked why is the team called Team Banana, and he didn't. So yeah, I want to know, but unfortunately no resolution on that one. Contact,
that was neck
Heredia has been able to get that one stopped though. That is very surprising to me. At least more contact now on the corner exit as Connor Gibb tries to recover some of those places he lost on that one. So there's a car miles off the side. I think it may have been Hans Verheij who had a big setback.
6 minutes complete out.
Was that going to be a dive? No, just backed up.
Big lock-up though ahead, Sam. Big lock-up there from must have been Heredia, and well, they're queuing up right now. Gibb and Godden side by side. Neither of them can decide who wants to mount an attack onto the Spaniard. Bouncing across the curb, switchbacks at plenty. They're still side by side. They separate from one another and they instantly come back. It's like they want to hold hands around here, and I mean that Koitinen just having a bit of a look into the middle there, that's risky. We don't want to be doing that, Mika Koitinen. Finn Alexis to dip out of it. Telasco still holding his own here, Sam. He's still up in 4th. That's a great drive from the end.
Yeah, it's really good from Telasco, and he pretty much dropped all those places on that one as well. So Telasco hasn't really dropped anything since. So I think he might be able to stay in the top 5 come the end of this race. As here was a replay of the start, and we're trying to figure out exactly what happened, because it was this 3 wide which really set them down. Harris was in the middle, Godden on the outside, which turns into the inside. There's a bit of contact initially, and there's more contact, and how Harris didn't lose more time to do that. It was Godden the big loser out, and he was lucky not to get more damage than what he's got actually, and then that was a big move for the effect simulation car of Veerman, and that's how he managed to take the lead on that one.
Fascinating battle being played out up front and down through the field as well. It was moves plenty and lock-ups, and that's Connor Gibb, isn't it? Just that's how he lost so many places early on. Well, he would have wanted, and that's Hedgecock slipping his way through. Well, sorry, this is the big move, the move of the century from Fletcher. Great move in turn once you called it right at the time, Sam. Just backed out of it. Just watch your ways, because it's going to drive off through the corner here. I mean that's like NASCAR style, isn't it? When you've got no tyre, or if anything, it looked like he had fresher tyres than everyone else, didn't it? And he's he pitted on the last caution, and then he can just duck underneath everyone on corner exit. I mean, Sam, it was like he hit the DRS, push to pass, and Nitros all at the same time, and just off he went, and just got all 3 of them by surprise. Nobody was expecting that one. As running wide, that was Telasco there, I believe, in a replay. It's dropped him down into 5th. As well, still battling out at the back of the field. Although that's a big lock up there from Loic Barb, and Gibb is finally going to get past Koitinen. However, he has dropped 1.5 seconds behind Godden. And Hedgecock behind Koitinen. Look, it inflicts even more pain onto the fin.
Yeah, Koitinen seemingly making a home in that 11th place, because that's where he started in this race. It was where he was for the majority of race 1 as well. There's Jack Collins got ahead of Heredia, ahead of these drivers. Yeah, Gibb, how much further up can he get? Maybe he could get Heredia, maybe Godden, as here is Barb and Modos once again going at it. And this is Modos trying to make this move stick then on like Barb. And I think he may have just done so, because Barb, with that very tight exit, wasn't really on the power any earlier, however. Also, he'll be able to pick up the draft before turn 1. there's nothing he's going to be able to do. So Modos up to P6. He has had very strong pace tonight.
I think we've seen some inspired drives by quite a lot of drivers. I mean, last time around, Damien Harris, fastest lap of the race. In fact, Sam, he was nearly a full second quicker than Fletcher and Van Beer. That's Hedgecock.
Altitude. Stop.
Oh,
Stop.
no.
Stop.
Oh,
And there's contact.
yeah.
And there's been contact as well further up. Robin Bierman has had an issue. That was unlucky there for, I think, Luke Olsen.
It's a good job there wasn't more cars there. Otherwise, that was a Clio Cup replica of what happened in IMSA this year between two of the DPIs and, of course, the GTDs. Big incident there.
Bierman may have had a wheel issue. Not a virtual issue, a wheel issue, Tim. Maybe not the time to make jokes, I'm sure he's absolutely gutted about that. But that might be the best of the season, Tim.
That is, it's really good, Sam. Really good.
So he promotes a few drivers up the order.
It does. I mean, it's going for Wilson because it's always handy to have your teammate there, battling away and having to fight your corner. But this is going to be Wilson's strongest result of the season. Although Telasco, cat amongst the pigeons, and on the podium overall. Could it happen? This was the scene of another big upset where, of course, in the Apex Racing League GT3 Series, Pro-Am ended up beating and winning the overall championship against a whole field of pros. Though, who was featured on the Apex Racing TV socials recently after receiving his trophy. He's winning the Chip Pro-Am and overall as well. And that's gutting for Heredia. He has fought like an absolute trooper today.
Bob has got this one back on Modos.
Well, has he, Sam?
And looking for Godden now. Well, I think Godden should be able to get past the pair of these. Come on, Godden. Do the same move as Fletcher. Might not be easy. Can he get them down the inside? He's going to get one of them, but we'll have to wait for the next one. Barb in that 5th place right now. Of course, up to 5th place after the issues for Bierman.
It's the brakes. We go. What can Godden do? Winding it up, just trying to maneuver and position Barb to make him vulnerable. Flips the curb on the outside. Has he got the run? Has he got the confidence on the brakes? Down in towards the hairpin. I tell you what, Barb feels threatened. Look at how defensive he is, and then tries to cover it off. Moving a little bit into the braking zones. Godden looks for the switchback here, Sam. Can he make it count? It's tricky on the exit there, where it's just so easily covered off by the car in front of you. Still plenty of opportunities, though, although he might not quite need them here.
Yeah, he's going to need a little bit of a helping hand here from Bob not to just shove him off the circuit. Going through Tower Bend, Cunningham Corner, and, well, very respectful racing there from the French driver. A little bit of contact on exit, and now Barb can see the opportunity, and Bob's not going to turn down an opportunity to get past. Modos is looking to get past Barb, and he has been able to do that. So up into 6th place, and Barb loses a couple of places in a couple of corners.
I mean, Fletcher, what can we say, Sam?
Well,
I mean,
it's coming down. No, it's not. Last lap, it didn't. It's not over and done with yet, though. It's not. It's still got time. I think has Wilson got a slowdown in the background. Yep.
Oh no.
That goes up to P3.
It's on, Sam. There's something magical about Sebring and underdog performances. They could see an AM driver on the podium overall. Fletcher still on course to maintain that 100% race to victory record. And, well, they've been pretty even across the last 3 laps, except lap 4, that big chunk of time that Harris managed to take out of them. And, ooh, there you go. It's almost like a push lap. Take a load of time out of him, then have a lap to recover, to cool the tyres down, just equal his lap time, and then another push lap. 7 tenths out of Fletcher. Another half a second last time around from Harris. He can smell blood here, Sam. You can see it. He can almost reach out and touch it, and he's just set the fastest Sector 1 of anyone so far this race. This is game on, Sam. 5 minutes left to go.
It is, and of course, if you want to go as fast as Damien Harris in the Renault Clio, do check out Apex Racing Academy because they are providing setups for the Clio Cup car for the iRacing Production Car Challenge. That's the series, a multi-class series with a number of other cars. And also its open setup is that series. So yeah, do check out the data packs, which includes setups and group coaching and track guides, and also check out the Apex Racing Academy social media as well, where we are posting little snippets of those track guides as well in order to get faster. And the group coaching sessions in particular, a fantastic way to be able to find more pace for your driving. That's available in the IMSA Championships and also the Porsche Cups as well. So do check out apexracingac.com for more details. As we are watching Kimber Height, who was on that last lap 2.5 seconds faster than Scott Malcolm. So do I say he might be past quite soon.
Although a big lock up there, Sam, that will not help things whatsoever, and neither will mowing the grass. Clio Cups, not Clio Cuts.
That's better.
Thank you.
I mean, is it better? Basically got rid of half the letters in Cups. This one and added to. It's only a temporary setback. I think.
Do you think this is more when, not if?
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Modos losing touch with Godden. Godden now a second up the road. And look at Connor Gibb, he is getting fast. Marco Koisinen as well is up into P9. He's actually got some pretty nice pace right now as Koisinen. He's actually faster than the driver who's ahead of him. He's actually faster than Andrea Telasco on that last lap up in P3. So Miko is the Finnish driver, really driving well in these closing stages. There's Jack Wilson's just gone off the circuit king. He's having an absolute mare down in P4. It looks like he will stay in that P4 as we do see that move for Kim Bahait. And yeah, he is up to 11th place and past Scott Malcolm. Could still catch up to Heredia by the end.
Time's running out though, Sam. They've got this lap and then they're going to take the white flag. Remember how crazy it got last time out. I thought Fletcher is starting to respond to Harris in the way that he's catching him. So Harris was 2 tenths quicker last time around. The gap down to 1.2 seconds now. However, 6 to 5 last time. It was all about Mark Fletcher. Went fastest of absolutely anyone. Although that gap is tumbling, it's going to be within a second very, very shortly, Sam. Harris knows he has got 1.5 laps exactly left to do this. And look at that, purple in Sector 1, purple in Sector 2, Sector 3 and Sector 4.
I mean, it's like Neo seeing all the numbers in the Matrix. He's absolutely figured out this Sebring circuit now as Damien Harris. Lost a little bit of time actually through Tower Turn, apologies. But going on Bishop Bend and then Ginderbean Bend. Yeah, there you go. It's only a personal best that time for Damien Harris. But he's not quite in draft range, I believe. I mean, keep an eye on what the time is at the top there. But he's not really gaining a whole lot. He's gaining a few thousandths of a second, to be fair, but he needs a bit more than that with 1 lap to go. Once he's in that draft, that will just help him really gain those extra few tenths that he needs.
Sunset, and then 1 lap left to go here from race 2 and round 4 of the Apex Racing League Clio Cup. Still plenty to fight for though.
What was that contact?
I'm not sure, Sam. I'm not sure. It looked like that. The camera angle can be deceptive. It's out of the sunset they come. I tell you what, it's amazing how clear, composed those Clios have looked coming through sunset. Horrifically bouncy is that corner. Notoriously, we all know it is. Quite just legs against the turn 1 move against bar, backs out of it. Bearing the throttle in. Can he make a move elsewhere? They're slow in front of him, and that could just distract Barb. Could check him up enough for the Finn to try and make a move there, trying to drive it out the corner. Barb and Gibb are absolutely all over each other. So is Modos, and Queen are just slowed up, couldn't find the gap. And this could kill off his run time, and it could kill off his chances of making progress. Although he's going to be on the outside of Barb, or is he? No, Barb just ahead, dips to the inside. Is he going to fake him? Is he going to lunge on the brakes? No, backs out of it, but keeps his car there. Is that the wise move? Up front, I mean, Harris, look at Wayne Harris is close to 8-10%, but half a lap left. Exactly. I mean, far a mistake from Harris. He's got this one in the bag. It's his to lose.
It really is, and we haven't seen him make mistakes this season as Mark Fletcher. The only setback he really had was that contact with Godden back at Spa in race 1, which set him back a bit. That's really been the only time, and that wasn't his fault. It was a racing incident. Oh, that's a big contact and hard into the wall for Juan Carlos Heredia and Kim Bahait as well. Bahait making his way through. These clears are made of some strong stuff, so they both continue. Will be able to take the checkered flag, but no stopping Mark Fletcher. That gap will probably be down to maybe even under 0.7 of a second by the time that the draft takes its full effect. But Harris looks like he was just 1 or 2 laps short of making up that time after that contact on lap 1.
Well, look at Salasco, Sam. That gap is closing. I mean, 4 tenths between himself and Wilson. Fletcher's going to take the victory. Harris is going to have to settle for second, despite throwing absolutely everything at it. Fletcher continues his 100% race 2 victory record, and this is going to be a run to the line here, Sam. It could go either way as Wilson closing, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think he's going to run out of room and time, and Olasco, the Yam, finishes on the podium overall. As Malcolm's just got past Hedgecock here in the dying stages.
Hedgecock with a big slow up. What's happened to him? Where are they going?
That's a big contact.
Malcolm's slow as well. Was that independent? Bahait finishes 10th place. He crashed on the last lap, Bahait. I think he still gained places.
Wow. Wow. I'm rendered speechless, Sam. Fascinated to know what happened in that final corner. There was definitely something going on there. Some shenanigans.
Also, Telasco absolutely being quite cruel there, I think, to Wilson. Telasco a 2.5 seconds off the fast lap time. But Telasco actually wasn't that far off his best lap time. It was only half a second off his best lap time there. But it was just enough. Wilson would be wondering how on earth he lost out to Telasco. His fastest lap was 1.1 seconds faster. But because of the slowdowns and the off tracks he was picking up, it made a bit of a meal of it and missed out on a podium. There you go, Mark Fletcher winning out 0.8 of a second ahead of Damien Harris. Telasco top of the AMs. There was Wilson, Godden, Modos, Gibb, Barb, Koistinen, Bahait with that very close finish ahead of Hedgecock. Malcolm was second place out of the AMs, also not far behind. That came down to 400ths of a second, another 50 meters, and maybe Olsen would have had that one with the slowness of the Scottish driver across the line. Heredia, Clist, Bahij were the last drivers on the lead lap. Veerman, I think, will score points there, but Jay Walsh will not, and that is a setback for our runner-up so far in the Amateur Championship.
Wow. Should we head to some highlights, and we'll be back in the studio. We'll see you shortly for a chat to some of our drivers about the events of Sebring today. See you shortly.
welcome back. And I mean, I wasn't expecting that.
Well,
I wasn't. I genuinely. I knew it'd be fun. We've had great fun this season, but I was not expecting that from Sebring.
I was expecting it because Mark Fletcher won race 2, which is exactly what I said was going to happen.
You did. You called it. I'll give you that one.
4 out of 4 is a remarkable record for him. And honestly, I mean, there is a certain amount of fortune in that, like to win 4 straight race 2s when you're not starting in the top 5 every single time. There is an element of luck. I mean, you need to make sure that no one wipes you out. But once again, his racecraft is so good, Mark Fletcher, on that lap 1 in particular, from I think 9th to 4th on that lap 1, and then obviously he just does the other 3 all in one corner.
Yeah.
So remarkable efficiency up through the order, and it is also not much of a surprise that he has got those 4 race 2s in a row now.
Having said that, Harris was catching him at a rate of knots in those closing stages. One more lap, I think, is what Harris needed.
I think you can make the argument that maybe Harris has been the fastest man this season. Each round he's always been up there. But unlucky tonight, honestly. Maybe the race 1 incident, I think it was a racing incident. I'm not saying it was anyone's fault. Maybe he could have left a bit more space. He knew that there were 2 cars on his inside. Maybe he could have left an extra meter or so just to absolutely make sure not a contact.
Hindsight's a powerful thing though, Sam, isn't it? We've all been there, let's face it.
And of course we know that the contact model in the Clio is completely messed up. The car shouldn't have spun around the way it was. In real life that would just be a tap and he'd drive around completely not noticing it. And then of course that race 2 just found himself in the middle, 3 wide. Very unfortunate on that occasion as well. Made contact with Jack Gosden, so just not the rub of the green really for Harris. It will help him in the championship a bit for 2nd place, but it's more points lost for Mark Fletcher. He takes a big step towards the title tonight.
Over race 1, it was all about Jack Wilson taking points out of all of them. I think a thoroughly deserved victory. It's been a long time coming for him.
Yeah, and to make that move on the last lap the way that he did, he had to make up a fair bit of time as well in the laps beforehand. Really well deserved and really delivering on what we were waiting for. We knew that he was going to win a race, so it was only a matter of time.
It was when, not if. And should we have a chat to some of our drivers right now? Now joined by your race 2 winner, overtake of the season, maybe even across all of Apex Racing Leagues. Now joined by Mark Fletcher. Mark, I mean, I think we need to talk to you about race 2 ultimately. Just talk us through it. You know, you start all the way down in 9th and, as Sam said, make your way up to 4th on the first lap and then decide just to do the final 3 in one corner.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear I can't win a race 1 this year. So yeah, just try and make it 4 from 4 in race 2. But yeah, I could see it was all getting a bit hectic down the straight. I was like, I'm just going to take my normal line because these lot are going to push wide. I didn't expect all 3 to push wide, I'm not going to lie.
You were like Moses parting the sea as you just casually I said in commentary, it was like you had engaged DRS, pushed to pass and Nitros all at the same time and just slingshotted yourself past them all. It was absolutely fascinating to see. Obviously leading up to that though, I mean, the perennial hot knife through butter. Just talk us through that first lap. I mean, I know it's a much longer lap around here at Sebring compared to some of the tracks that we've visited and will visit this season, but even so, I mean, that was a lot of places to make up in that single lap.
Yeah, to me it just shows the importance of a spotter. I've got a live spotter who I generally couldn't have done all those moves without. He tells me like quarter, side, front, and everything like that. So yeah, it's mega to have that. But yeah, it's get through the first corner. You can see what was going to happen. The 2, obviously Damien and Jack push wide, and it's just keeping your car in the sort of right space and just giving the guys time to settle down really, but try and pick them off one by one.
You say giving them time to settle down, you still make up all those places on the opening lap. Absolutely fascinating to watch. Well, I suppose, how long can you keep this rich vein of form of race 2 victories going? I mean, clean sweep for the season? I mean, that's going to be a really tough ask, but it's keeping you right in the fight there of the championship.
Yeah, race 1 was a bit funky this evening. I don't know what happened. I definitely should have defended into that last corner. I didn't think Jack was close enough, but obviously when you you do a bit of a different line as I do into that last corner. He stuck his nose and I was like, I've screwed up a bit here. But yeah, hopefully race 2, that's where I'm at. I enjoy fighting through the field, and yeah, 4 from 4.
Well, congratulations. That is your race 2 winner and second in race 1, Mark Fletcher.
Thank you. Good night.
Well, I mean, highest point scorer tonight.
Yeah, first time since round 1 that he's been able to achieve that as well. The last couple of rounds been Jack Gordon, who's been taking back a handful of points, but then he'll have a nice advantage tonight. So yeah, will be good points for our already championship leader Mark Fletcher. We have got Scott Malcolm joining us now. Scott, great that you could make it tonight, because it was looking a little bit close for you to be able to join the session, but in the end that compromise qualifying, that it didn't really affect you, because it was incredible to see you were leading the AMs about 2 laps into race 1. How were those first few laps in race 1 from your perspective?
Was I actually leading AM at one point?
You were, yeah.
Yes, you were.
You were.
I didn't even notice. I was too busy trying to keep the car in a straight line, that's why.
That is absolutely fair enough. How was the racing around this circuit? Because it looked really intense at some points, with just, you know, packs of 4 or 5 drivers all fighting one another.
I wasn't really looking forward to this track. I don't know why, but it kind of surprised me. I thought the racing was absolutely brilliant tonight. Like, some of the moves that were getting done were like top class. Some bit dubious, but that's for you guys to sort out. But aye, it was. I thought it was mega.
Yeah, it did really look like a lot of fun out there. How are you kind of finding this Clio car? Are you learning things about the car as the season progresses?
Yeah, I'm learning wee bits and bobs each week about how it handles, how it brakes, how it takes the corners and all that. But I think it's a great wee car to drive. I think this would be ideal for somebody that's just starting to drive and get used to these front wheel drives before they move up into like the TCRs or something like that. I think this would be like a great feeder series for something like that.
Absolutely, yeah, it really does seem to be a very, very small car. Well, once again, thanks for coming up and having a chat with us, Scott. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
It's just got to be the usual crew, or the Apex for putting this championship on. You guys for doing the broadcast. He's always pretty professional at doing it. Missing the couches tonight though. Obviously everybody at Team Ignium and all the rest of the drivers, and I think I'll maybe give a wee special mention to Hedge for that move I did in the last corner with a laugh about it. It was pretty special. I hope it's caught in the stream, and I just about lost second place in the arms, but trying to give him the spot back and forgetting that Patrick was right behind me.
That we didn't actually catch a lot of that final lap. I mean, quickly before you go, explain that final lap to us, because there was a fight for the lead. It was very close, and there were a couple of other fights as well. What exactly happened on that final lap? Because we saw the positions move about a lot for you guys.
Last lap, I was just pretty happy where I was. I seen Adam Edgecott getting very close to me. He got by me on the final straight, and I managed to stay in his rear bumper. I thought, I'm going to try the cutback here, but it didn't quite work out like that, so I kind of just caught his back end, kind of half spun him, but eased off and let him get back round, and just gave him, you should have just knew you. Just caught his back barrel and just spun a wee bit, but I gave him the place back, and as I was slowing down to give him the place back, this Patrick flying up the back went, no, don't do that, I'm going to lose thing. But I had enough speed to get over the line.
Yeah, it was close. I think it was 4/100ths in the end that you held on to that position in AM. So yeah, could have been worse. Thanks for having a chat with us, Scott, and yeah, best of luck for next week.
I'll be here next week. That should be my drop league next week.
Disappointing. Well, see you back in 2 weeks' time, and yeah, hopefully you can make up the points.
Yeah, I'm sure, Sam. I'm sure. Right, speak to you later, guys.
Scott Malcolm there for Ignium Motorsports. And yeah, that was an interesting fight. I didn't realise that he slowed down, but then the height was like, yeah, sure. I've got no guilt here.
No.
I'll just go overtake both of you.
If you want to slow down and do the gentlemanly thing, but do it too much, then that's your problem, not mine.
Yeah.
It's interesting watching it as well in replays. Thank you to our producers for digging that one out of the archive, out of the footage so quickly. And I mean, he just very casually explained. That's what I love about Scott Malcolm. Yeah, oh, Scott, you know, opening laps, you're up to first place in class. Was I? Yeah. Oh, I was just having fun. As you do.
Yeah,
Understated Scotsman.
It was a rare moment where all the pros were ahead of all the AMs. It was very nice to see on the time and tell. And Scott was at the head of those AMs, kept himself out of trouble. But in the end, Telasco was so strong tonight. I mean, even with that contact he had with Modos in
third overall, Sam. A third overall.
Yeah.
I mean, a great result.
The consistency as well. It wasn't necessarily the third fastest driver up there, but very consistent, avoiding incidents in that race too. And yeah,
it's only the fact that Wilson, he obviously lost that position, and then just was pushing so hard, overdrove the car, and those mistakes then cost him what I think he would have claimed that third place back. But yet again, a little bit of overdriving the car, costing Wilson again, and would have been a double podium for him this evening, and that's the first time we would have achieved it this season.
Yes, so he'll be a bit frustrated about that, but I think he will still be positive that he can win races in this championship.
A win and a fourth is not a bad result considering the bad luck he's had so far this season.
Definitely.
I mean, Harris, quick as ever. Telasco looking strong in Gordon, bit of a disappointment by his standards. Probably a bit of a curse of the commentators. You said Harris, I said Gordon, and they both have not the best. Well, yes, I need to say Fletcher. All right. Wouldn't that the one drop for you? But no, it's a fascinating championship. Could go which way this one. Certainly in the pros.
Yes, and of course next round will be on next Friday, so certainly make sure to catch that one. But well, we've got Porsche Cup in just a few minutes' time, so make sure to keep tuned with that, and we'll
definitely
that soon.
Oh yeah, and I think that's all from us. Very shortly, we'll see you in probably about 20 minutes' time. Porsche Cup, go grab a drink. We'll see you then. Goodbye.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.